it was passed, unfortunately, in Dáil, which means, the Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, the usual culprits, the Green Party, like division, like causing division in Irish society, like putting people against each other, and basically causing division in society, and that's basically putting a strain and trampling on people's rights. And these are private businesses again. The government shouldn't really have much of a say in this. But again, I say this to people, and I say even to people who are vaccinated, to boycott going into businesses, going inside the businesses, and using your vaccine passport. To boycott and then don't use it. I would say that straight to you because I would say it straight to you. I wouldn't believe in the vaccine passports. To be totally honest, I wouldn't believe in the online vaccine passports either. So I would just say to you, if you are vaccinated or if you haven't been vaccinated, I would say sit outside. And if snow comes during the winter time or into that, it'd be an act of defiance. Because as Abraham Lincoln famously said, a house divided by itself cannot stand. Um, and we have to show as Irish people that we won't stand. And the only way we can do that is by civil disobedience. If it's on main streets, so be it. Sit on the main streets, on the footpaths if necessary. To sit on the footpaths to cause as much civil disobedience as possible. But again, I would say to boycott going inside pubs, restaurants, even though you're vaccinated. I would say to stand with people who can't get the vaccine or who choose themselves to not get the vaccine. I would say stand with them people, even though it could be snowing in December. By then probably the pubs will be closed, knowing this tyrannical government. But again, I say to people, to sit outside. It's better off outside. You're better off outside. It's more fresh air. It's better for your health being outside, being in the great outdoors. It's better than being inside stuck in a room. So I would say to people, to go to your local pubs, and restaurants and sit outside. You don't need the vaccine passport to go inside. You don't need the vaccine beg pardon, to sit outside. As far as I know for the moment, maybe they might change that. Stephen Donnelly might change it because he's basically been given a blank check to do whatever he wants. So the votes were 73 for, so this is for, and 68 against. One were independent voted against, I don't know who that was, but maybe it was a mistake. And obviously, all the rest, they were independent people for profit, Social Democrats, independents, all the independents, apart from one. And both Sinn Féin voted against, which is 68. Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and the Green Party voted for. And again, I'd say this to people to remember this time, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and the Green Party, what they did in cause of the division in Irish society. And for discriminating against people. But again, I say to people, the civil disobedience, don't go into the pubs to cause trouble or anything like that. Go and sit outside. If necessary, to sit in the street again, to cause as much civil disobedience as possible by sitting on the street or even by sitting on the road next to it, just to cause hassle, just to basically cause hassle and just give the government a pain in the head. But again, I would say this civil disobedience is the only way to get through to people. Violence or anything that won't get through to the government and will just cause more resentment and more hate in this society, which we don't need. Again, I say to people to sit in the street, sit outside with your pint, sit outside with your food, even though it could be -2, -100, it could be snow and it could be literally frost in your mouth or Guinness. But it's better off than going down the government's toll line, and going with the government, and to show people that you're solidarity of freedom. Above all else, you support freedom, and you support the right for people to access goods freely. And the only way to do that is by going outside and taking it. Again, necessary sit in the street just to cause civil disobedience. Because again, that's what I would say to people. That's the best way to show it. And they tell you local TDs, especially if you're in Fine Gael and the Green Party, write to them and say how disappointed you are, and you won't be voting for them in the next election. And to get their act together, if so. But basically, it's a sad day in Irish democracy. I'll be totally honest with you, because it's back to America, the 1960s. It'd be the same thing nearly probably on trats, but the years ago was the blacks sit in the back of the bus, and now it'd be the unvaccinated sit at the back, and the vaccinated sit at the front. That's what basically it is. It basically put one group in front of the other. Even for example, children who can't get the vaccine, the moment who can't fail the vaccine or anything like that, or who choose not to get, because again, it's about choice. It's your own choice. And judging people on their own choice is not right, and I'm sure people agree with me. And again, I know a few people might give out to me for that kind of assumption there. But again, I'm just kind of assuming it. You're just picking on people, picking on a group of people, and just that's the best way to kind of describing it, which is totally wrong to isolate anybody in society. Either if it's by their choice or by their race, whatever, etc., etc., etc. But again, I'm sure people agree with me because that's what democracy is all about. In listening to people and talking to people, and and not excluding anybody, I suppose. Um, but yeah, let me know what you think. So subscribe for more, and do if do take part in the civil disobedience. That's all I'm going to say because again, this has to stop. And what's happening at the moment with this government. Thank you.